All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live Web3 Network. I'm solo dolo today. No Gifted, no Biggie Poppins, no Ronan the Collector, just Nifty Q, bringing you the latest NFT and Web3 news from around the space. I'm happy to have you guys. Truly, I am. Whenever I get a solo episode, it helps to have the support of everybody who's out there. So if you're out there, if you're listening afterwards, if you're listening to me here now live on YouTube, drop a comment, drop a reply. All of your love and support is well appreciated. A slow news week, or at least the end of the week here on a Thursday. Not much is happening on kind of the broader news side. We did see a CryptoPunks lead announcement come out from Daniel Allegre. No formal announcement was made, and then I believe, let me make sure I have her name right. I believe it's Natalie Stone, who is the new brand lead for CryptoPunks, came out and actually put out a formal announcement. So we had that happen. We got a couple other things going on the NFT front. Let me make sure I have that for y'all. I do want to get into parallel trading card games, but yeah, Squiggle sold for Azuki. We got just green floor prices. That's all I'm concerned about today. Because for the first time in what feels like years, we actually had a green day on the NFT floor price front. And I'll pull those charts up for you here in a second. It's not all about charts. I'm here for the tech. I'm here for the implementation, the innovation that comes from implementing this technology. But you know what? It's damn nice to see some green on this floor price chart. So this is the one-day change. Let me see if I can get that by favorites. You can see most projects, at least most that I follow anyways, my favorites here on Blur, are doing okay. Don't look at that 7-day chart. Just hone in on that one-day price chart, and we actually see green across the board for most projects. Looks like Deadfellows is down big today, but for the most part, everything is hanging in there. We saw a little bit of a bounce. I don't know if I'm ready to call it the bottom. Interested in y'all's takes out there, but Pizza Daddy, Benja, Easy in Crypto, DP, what's good? Everyone left you hanging today, huh? Gifted sick. Biggie Poppins is doing Biggie Poppins things. Ronan's working. Nobody has any idea what they're doing. Welcome to the club. But I'll be taking you around the industry today. This is the Punks piece that I was talking about. This just broke about, let's see. She tweeted at 11:14, so about a couple hours ago. This broke. This is Natalie Stone saying, "Hey Punks, I missed the excitement yesterday. Guess I'm officially doxxed. Was working with the team, Zach Group, and a familiar faces on the upcoming Punks book and some new projects that will be dropping soon. By the way, check the new PFP." So I guess technically this news broke yesterday. Daniel Allegre was in a Farouk space there. The second GM Web3. I don't want to call it fake. Everybody's grinding here in this space, but we know where the GM Web3 original IP comes from. That's the Web3 network. But Daniel Allegre, CEO of Yuga Labs, he drops a little bit of alpha there on that space. I could drop the link here in chat for y'all, but partly it was mentioning that Natalie Stone is now the new brand lead because we did see, I forgot the individual's name, who just left that position about a month ago. All right, so like I said, solo episode today. You just have Nifty Q. Sorry for that. For those of y'all that are expecting someone cuter or more interesting, this is all you got. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. I'm going to flow into it today, too. It's a weird Thursday for me. But yeah, I think that's a pretty big piece of news there from Yuga Labs. I mean, one, it's great to see more females getting empowered in this industry. We know the demographics here. So having the brand lead for, one of the largest collections, if not the most notable collection in NFTs, be a female brand lead, it's awesome to see. Rocky R saying MF is enjoying a green day after 80% down. Listen, that makes it just that much sweeter. It does, man. Going through all those negative pieces, those negative days, I'll take a 5% green day when I can get one. All right, I'm going to get to some of these comments here in just a moment. Other news going around the industry, we've been covering Monument Game. Here we saw another large bid, about 10 ETH added on to the highest one-on-one bid on that Monument Game. It's sitting like 252 or 54 ETH at this point. Some squiggles were sold for Azuki's. Azuki's pumped overnight. I'm not sure that guy is totally in the green. That might have been just him pumping the floor, but he bought about 14 or 15 Azuki's, I believe. Inspect DAO. I'm interested in what Inspect XYZ is doing. They have soft launched the DAO there. Let me make sure I get this up for you guys, because some of y'all might not know what Inspect.xyz is. But essentially, I mean, I love the branding here, by the way. The layer 2 built for X essentially was a way for you to follow analytics here on X. So you can see dashboards, collection rankings, Twitter profile rankings. We briefly brought this up on NFT Live on the Web3 Morning Spaces, just to look at like community sentiment and what is the unique percentage of people that have their PFP on their X profile, right? Like, what is the collection percentage that has that, right? You want to see that be higher and higher. If you can get 100% of your community rocking your PFP, you're clearly doing something right. So you can see we used to bring this up again to cover this PFPs per NFT percentage. Bored Ape sitting at 70%. Azuki 63, Mutants at 42, and so on and so forth. But they've done a lot of building in the time that we first got introduced to these guys, and the move to monetization of X profiles, I think, is going to take these guys to the next level. So I don't know what exactly the DAO is up to. I listened to a space probably, an hour ago. I was about a 30-45 minute space with whale.swoosh. I'll drop that in the chat as well. But I mean, you can see that they have a little bit of product market fit here. People are interested in how their X profile is being, monitored. What do they look like comparatively across the board and across other profiles? There's a product market fit. I don't know if there's going to be an Inspect DAO token. So all of that stuff, I'm just getting my hands on after using the app probably for the last month pretty strongly. All right, I'll get to some comments. Kodas are not up. Oof. Waiting for Legends of the Morrow. Phasia, our vibe, our tribe. Who gets sick in the middle of summer? GIF is a degen in all aspects, immune system included. It might be COVID. So you might have to shelve that one. He said it might be COVID, but I haven't got an update. Hopefully that's not a bad thing. All right, we are just getting started on today's episode. I'm going to actually get some more light in here. It feels a little dark. Let's see if that doesn't help my complexion. All right, like I said to start the episode, it's a relatively short, or I guess the word is probably just a relatively quiet day on the NFT front. Floor prices are up. So the gods are up 12%. Mutant Apes up 3%. Again, make sure that you're looking at these on the 1-day chart. Don't pay attention to that 7-day chart. The captains up 4%. Meebits up 11%. Some sentiment is coming across my timeline that they might be due for some type of update, some upgrade. Nakas continue their rise. I mean, Nakas are up pretty strongly, even, over the last month. They're sitting at 0.31. I'm interested, y'all at home, if you're listening to us afterwards, what projects, if you're looking at this kind of time in Magic Wand here, it's a bottom. We're sitting at the bottom. Maybe, over the next few months, we get a rise in total volume. We get extra liquidity. We get this flywheel moving in the right direction. What project are you looking at here that you think will benefit most in that time? Because I'm looking at it here. We had a Bored Ape Yacht Club question. yesterday saying, hey, like of the Yuga assets and Yuga ecosystem, what would you be picking up right now? My initial gut reaction in that is probably mutants, just because they've shown to be on par almost with the OG collection, and they're sitting at what, like a fifth or a sixth of the price. They're at 4.5. We do see Fuck It Mutant weekend this weekend in Miami, so there is a quote unquote big event. It's not going to be the multi-day fiasco that we saw at NFT NYC for Ape Fest, but they do have a Mutant Ape event here this weekend. All right, heavy metal floor is so down. And Ben just telling me to check out some codas. So, that's relevant to the conversation, right? So other deeds are pretty wrecked. That one I probably wouldn't touch unless you have some alpha. Codas are 3.3 ETH. That's another one. I think if you held a gun to my head, I would say mutants over codas. But damn, does that not look good? Because codas are going to have, I think, just inbuilt utility into that other side game, of course. Heavies are at 0.49, so they are kind of wrecked. I think we do see a pop off this 0.49. I think we see a pop off that with the heavy metal season 3 coming to an end. We get like a raid system. People are... Let me pull this up before I start getting on my high horse. But people are essentially expecting a raid at the end of season 3 to be significant. I've heard all over the boards. A lot of folks that I'm talking to are saying, "Hey, this is going to be really legit. We're going to be, kind of able to go into an instance and control our characters." And I've heard some people say this is just going to be like a point and click, like you send your heavy off into the abyss, it comes back like a couple hours later with some assets. The higher energy you get, the better you are at that game. Maybe you get some back. If it's just a kind of point and click, choose your own adventure type situation where you don't have that dynamic gameplay, there's going to be some extremely negative sentiment coming out, because the game seems to have lost some steam, as we love to do in this space. We love to move on to the next thing. And to be fair, Heavy Metal Forge is not parallel trading card game. It's not what I think Rec League will be. So it's come on hard times here in just a sec. So hopefully that's not a sell-off by people in the know there for heavy metals. It's been extremely volatile. It's gone from 0.49 up to 0.8, back down to 0.49. So that is tough. I'll open that question up before we move on, though. If you did have to get into a Yuga Labs ecosystem project, what would you do right now? And I'll throw CryptoPunks in there. But here's the issue. Again, you're talking about it maybe from an element of, we are going to be in the next bull market. You are looking at this in an element of, hey, I'm investing here, and the risk reward there, although the risk reward is probably okay, because you probably won't see that much negative value from punks. They've held up extremely well in this market. But from a profit standpoint, and from a let me flip this in a year's time standpoint, I don't think punks are that. Rocky R, I rejected a 17 wrapped ETH offer on my coda. Hey man, look, fall in line here. Join the club. Cheers to you, sir. We're all kind of in that same boat. Yeah, it's been hard looking at those Bored Ape Yacht Club timeline charts. Those have been tough to look at. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I'm gonna stay on this topic for a minute longer. Again, we did see some other pieces of news. Prohbition, the Snowfro and Prohbition art collaboration is live now. It is on Arbitrum, so you will have needed to, I believe, bridge to that platform. I'm gonna actually collect one of those after this episode. I've got a lot of digging to do. So I haven't been much on Arbitrum. I have not been over to base yet, as much as you folks have been getting after it over there. So I got actually a lot to do today. I'm planning on picking up a base trading card game asset here, a pack if possible, either on secondary if they're trading there or if the mint's still open. I know Asmodai was in that ecosystem, so please let me know. But I do want to get into parallel trading card game. I do want to get into Arbitrum here so that I can mint the Prohbition. I couldn't actually get into the platform though. It looked like they were having some issues. So Heart and Craft by Jordan Lyle. Snowfro is now live for minting. Again, they're calling this an inclusive edition. Price is 0.01, limit 10 per transaction. Now, when I first came on, okay, so this is starting to populate. We can see 2,889 have been minted. I need to be able to see, is there a time limit? The quantity is in perpetuity. So it's literally infinity. I don't know if this means it's going to be open forever. If somebody that's minting Heart and Craft, we've been talking about it for a long while here. But after this episode, I'll click end stream here and I'll get on over to Prohbition and mint one of these. Remember when codas were 20? Again, I want to focus on the positive today, folks. We've got green floor prices. Remember when Bored Ape Yacht Club was 22 and now it's 23.3? Remember when mutants were 4.5 and now they're 4.6? That's what we should be focusing on here today. I've exclaimed my preference for OniForce. I literally have a OniForce PFP that I'm rocking. So I'll open this question up, folks, before we stop and move on to the next topic. We do have a few, even though it was kind of a quiet day. Of these projects, I mean, what are you looking at? I know everybody has their preference. We've got some folks that are going to say things that they've been saying for a while. I'm looking at you, Marty, picking up a CryptoPunk. But we do have some other notable IPs here. And if this, in fact, is the bottom, I'm creating this hypothetical situation. What does well here in the coming few months? I'm talking about in the next 3 to 6 months. What are you picking up? Azuki was bouncing all over the place, by the way. If I just go to collections here, you can see Azuki Elementals, while they're not up in that 7-day range, are up around 0.5, I believe. Let me see where they bottomed out at. So just yesterday, I think they bounced off of 0.38. So that's a pretty significant bounce there for them in that time. Up almost to 0.5 of 0.38 even 24 hours ago. Yeah, codas within that Yuga question. I think it has to be mutants or codas. I haven't really formulated my thesis on either. If I had to pick between both, right? Like the thesis is clear again with mutants saying they're tied in with Bored Apes, pretty clear, and they're probably 6 of the value. People love to talk about pudgies in this market. I think they're going to do extremely well. You see Moonbirds, Doodles at 1. We talk about them pretty often. They are those legacy projects. It's tough to really nail one down. Quantum Variant saying codas all day, only 10,000. That's fair. Bring up the supply, why don't you? Rocky's saying MFers. Okay. I see you, Rocky. So let's check out MFers here. I don't know about this volume, sir. I see like 3. I see 3. I see like 9 sales on this chart. All right. Yeah, they bounced. I'll give you that. Look, it's a green. They bounced ish. Quantum Variant saying, GM, I'm a little late. Hey, you're never late, Quantum Variant. You arrive precisely when you mean to. All right, I'm going to get us into a couple other pieces. For those of y'all that have been looking at Heart and Craft, that is live again. Inclusive edition here from Jordan Lyle and Snowfro. There's a physical component to this, so there's already been 200 others minted in the last 2 minutes since I first brought this up. Again, if once this stream ends, I'm going to go directly over here, bridge some ETH, and claim one of these because, again, Jordan Lyle's a good friend of the community. Snowfro is Snowfro, so we will see. We will see how that one does, but congratulations to them on what seems to be a successful launch. We did cover, since we do have Marty McFly here, we did cover that Natalie Stone is the new brand lead over at CryptoPunks. Daniel Allegre basically leaking on a Spaces yesterday that this was the case. I'm interested in your take, Marty, and others here, but Marty has the only CryptoPunk I see in the crowd, but I'm obviously folks are, I think, mostly positive on that news. Interested if y'all have any. Quantum Variant is saying, I got 6, claim 2. It's a dope project. I can get behind that. All right, linking that Prohbition project there. We've been covering it. So if you've been on the channel, you know what we're talking about here. All right, Friendtech's been a huge piece of news. I want to give y'all 2 posts here that kind of illuminate the reality here with Friendtech, right? And I'm sure, again, that this app will continue to drive activity on base. It will drive activity and people will make a ton of money. I do want to bring up these 2. I love Hill Dobby. He does a great job with Dune Analytics. Only the top 1.6, so only 1,600 Friendtech users in the top 2% here earned over 0.1 ETH. Kobe just passed 90 ETH. Here's a nice power law distribution of the amount earned by those top few users. You can see there, you can see Kobe there sitting at 80, and then the long tail as you continue out there and you continue to see users. This is literally the top 1,600 users on Friendtech here. So we were exclaiming that. That's no surprise for folks that were watching this and kind of had the same sentiment that we did. The big power influencers are going to do well. Base was always going to do well if the app blew up. That is essentially getting people over onto their protocol. And then Friendtech, of course, is going to be a dub. The other one, people were talking about bots front running. A lot of people either claiming profiles, but also like trying to bid before actual users were able to bid on different shares and different keys. But here's one from Tom Wan. Stats about MEV on Friendtech, estimated 125 MEV bots here, over 21,000 profiles sniped, mostly profiles created after August 16th. Estimated amount of profit by MEVs, $2 million. MEV bots constitute 91% of the failed transactions. Top MEV bots earned 345 ETH, and their average holding duration for each key is 17 minutes. And FaZe Rain over there, a FaZe Clan member, was the most targeted of these bots. So some Dune Analytics there to kind of shed some light on the actual reality that's happening over there on Friendtech. Look, I don't want to be too serious. It is a positive day. We do see some green here in the NFT space. So there is some cool things happening with the app. You just see that the promise of like quick riches is only happening to less than 1%, right? Less than 1% are making more than an ETH, probably. All right, Easy saying, been in a meeting. Hope to catch some live here once I'm done. Take your time, brother. Build. All right, I'm going to get the NFT live link out to y'all here on X. If y'all could go ahead and give that one a like, I would appreciate it. I see y'all over on X as well. Let me highlight these folks. We get viewers that come in and out on the X platform, of course. I'm not sure what Elon has in store. This is super meta. And I'm not sure what Elon has in store for X streaming and our video content over there. For all intents and purposes, he seems to be moving more towards that all-in-one app, and videos, of course, in that realm. But shout out to y'all that are over there on X. I do want to drop the link to the post as well so that y'all can help it out if possible. We're going to get as many folks in here as possible, especially because I'm solo today. No gift dead. He will make me wear a mask, most likely. If he does have COVID, I might have to wear the mask. Actually, no, the mask does not prevent transmission. Listen to me. Does not prevent transmission, at least getting it. Giving it out, that's a whole nother thing. All right, so don't come attack me just yet. All right, I mentioned this earlier in the episode, but we do have a new bid on Monument Game. So this is from Tyler D over there at Lucky Trader as well. Just in the Monument Game 1 of 1 now has 270 ETH bid. There is exactly 7 hours left in the auction. It feels like we're going to see some fireworks tonight. We had a couple predictions over 500 ETH. I could easily see something like that happening near the end of the auction. That's not something that's like new to the art scene, of course, like some fireworks near the end of an auction. I could easily see Monument Game getting a pretty strong bid there near the end. DP, I appreciate you hitting the X post there for NFT Live. I see you there. All right, couple more quick pieces of news. Again, I think it was a relatively slow day over the past 24 hours, but NFT stats here. Last night, someone sold a fuzzy squiggle into a collection and bought 16 Azuki Elementals. The person that bought this squiggle, by the way, this blurry squig, I already sold it for 12 ETH. But bought Azuki's. Now, Azuki Elemental's pumped overnight. I'm not sure that this purchase is the one that moved it. Like we've seen way more liquidity. That is one benefit of Blur, as a lot of people like to, exclaim the negatives. Usually, even a 20, I think there was like $1 million buy on BAYC, although there was a sell right afterwards. But this extra liquidity makes it so, you buy 16 elementals, it shouldn't shoot the price up 20%. So I don't know what this guy was doing. I wouldn't necessarily have sold a squig for 16 Azuki Elementals, but apparently he knew something because Elementals popped off here. Let me see if I can get the 7-day chart. So if you look at this, this is like, I believe this is this morning here. You saw a bunch of different bids around 0.48. And we're really sitting at 0.46 right now. So we saw an initial movement, but nothing really, man. Hopefully that's not a broader case across all of the green that we saw start the day. Although it very well could be. So yeah, okay. Squiggles sold for 16 Azuki Elementals. Not sure what that guy was thinking, but it did make waves across the industry here. All right, I brought Inspect Out up earlier. So I've been using this site to follow my own Twitter profile. You can see within different collections. So if I go to collection ranking here and I go to specifically OniForce, which I hold a PFP, of course, on OniForce, you can actually go in and see the community members. So if I go to see all members and I go to global reach, you can see that your boy Nifty Q, oh my goodness, I'm shooting up the charts here, folks. I have now placed into, I'm not, this isn't fake, by the way. This isn't predetermined. Like I didn't set this up. I was 11th over the last, I would say, month or something like that. I put out a tweet saying I'm challenging all these folks in the OniForce community. Anyways, I belabor the point. Sorry for me getting all off track here. But you can see, like, you can go to different collections, see who's the top followers. You can literally click out onto their profile. So a lot of cool tools for people that want to grow their X profile, which with the introduction of monetization has only become more paramount. Well, it looks like they're moving more towards a DAO. So they put out this tweet as well as an announcement around a Spaces saying, Inspect DAO is launching soon. Join us today at 12 p.m. with these legends to discuss the future of our community and platform. You can see Whale Swoosh there, Borovic, Bunny is on there. And then the Spaces is right underneath it. So I'm going to link out to y'all that Spaces. Apparently they soft launched this, right? They soft launched Inspect DAO. I feel like this is a little bit of a diamond in the rough with the move to monetization. They've kind of hit product market fit with what they're trying to do, which is obviously provide tooling for people that want to increase their awareness and exposure. But they could do so much more, and they know it. So give a listen to that Spaces. They have a Discord as well if you want to jump in there. If anybody is familiar with Inspect DAO or is in that community, I would love to hear your take because I'm super bullish on the platform. Anything that can help benefit, your X journey, I think is positioned well. Peter Koo is saying Mint is still open, most likely for, I'm assuming you're talking about Prohbition and the Heart and Craft. Is it open in perpetuity? I assume it's not just going to be open for years. I assume they're going to close it at some point. I think based on our coverage of it, they actually said that they could close it at any time. That was the wording they used. So, like I said, after this stream, I'm going to do a deep dive here on Arbitrum as well as get on over to Base and pick up a trading card from Parallel. All right. Next piece is related to a lot. Oh, Parallel. Okay. All right. Woo. Don't shoot the messenger up here. Okay. Parallel trading. It's good to know that. Like I'm moving over I'm bridging over to Base here, and it's also good to know that. Thank you so much for dropping that info on me, Peter. All right, I had another. Let me make sure I have the right tweet. It looks like I linked out to the wrong tweet, but it was around the blur farming here. Already saying, I got a FUD. I could see it. Okay, actually, this was a Hill Dobby tweet. I don't know how my dashboard got all screwed up, but you guys know I've been standing for Hill Dobby here. Wild that we're still at 95% of wash trading on LooksRare and 80% on X2Y2. If you go out to his analytics dashboard, you can see all-time wash trading value, and X2Y2 is here. Total volume. Total wash trading here, sitting around 224 million. That is, I believe, all time. So OpenSea, Rarible, Blur, all of these are a hot topic and a big part of the discussion in Web3 right now because of OpenSea's. Essentially, OpenSea's just complete. I don't even know what you call it at this point. It's like seppuku. Like honorable seppuku is being committed by OpenSea. Biggie Poppins. We got a special appearance here by Biggie, who is he's in a park. I don't know if we're getting good. Biggie, what's up, bro?
No. I'm at my folks' home in Mexico. Hold on.
Yeah, the signal doesn't look too hot, man.
Give me a sec. I will fix this. I got to hear these last comments about seppuku.
Yeah, you came in at the right time.
I think I kind of agree with that.
You take a look at the price charts this morning. Any of the NFT floor price? Do you see we were just sitting in some green this morning?
I did not, man. But up it goes, down it goes. You never know. All right, I'm kind of pumped because I got to mint my Heart and Craft. Did you mint some, Q?
I'm actually going over right after the episode. I saw it went live right as we press live here, so I'm going right after. What was the experience like? Did you get a good one?
Dude, I haven't even seen them yet. So I was I had a checkup with the doctor, and I literally had to stop the doctor mid-sentence. I was like, hold on a second, doc. Like that's how DJ and I became. Like I got my alarm clock off. I was like, it sounded off. I turned it off. I already had the MetaMask mobile wallet on and the site and everything. I just minted, and then I was like, please continue. So I have yet to see what I got. But I really wanted to make sure.
Dude, I appreciate you.
Maybe sub 1,000. I don't know if I managed to get that, but if not, I'm sure I'm like in the first thousands, which is fun.
Yeah, let me see what that was up to. The last time I checked, which was like it felt like it was going up 100 a minute when I was checking it earlier, but it was over 3,000. It's probably well over that now.
Yeah, it says 3,300 right now, which I'm surprised a little bit. Honestly, like I was very curious to see what would happen. Because like they have the infinity sign next to it, right? It's an open mint. It's going to be open indefinitely, accessible to all. But I did hear Jordan Lyle in his spaces mention that the contract does limit it to like 1 million mints or something like that. And
just 1 million.
I was like, dude, us degens, we'll eat that up in a day. Maybe I was too ambitious, but that would be fucking crazy, right?
The activity on Arbitrum, I'm interested in when you're talking about like whether this was going to sell out or not sell out, but like in the maybe tens of thousands or something like that, because a ton of people, are not going to bridge. Some people aren't going to take that step and say like, I want to bridge over to Arbitrum to get this done. So maybe if it was on ETH, it would have done better.
I can totally sympathize with that. To me, like I really liked the entry price and the people involved. And the whole concept, I know like last year we touched on like friendship bracelets and yesterday we we're talking about Monument Game, and the week before we we're talking about Boys of Summer. But again, it's like it's art that beckons you to become an active participant, right, in it. And my motivation for minting, aside from the fact that it's a great entry point for a Snowfro piece, the way I see it, I don't care. I'm not really like speculating right off the bat that these things are going to be worth a ton, though.
Yeah.
Like if we want to take that stance, right? It's only 1 million, and if you think about the population in the world, or that at some point down the line they will close the mint, let's assume, even if they wait and just mint 1 million, right? There's 8 billion of us out here in the world, so there is some limitation there, right? I like the historical significance of it, right? That's why I really want it to be also like one of the first minters. But I love this, right? Like my whole end game for this is that I want to give these away to some of my nephews and nieces, and
yes,
I really care about. And I don't even want to tell them that it's an NFT. Like that's something that I'm going on in my head about, right? It's like, should I even tell them, or should I just pick a heart for them, give it to them, and be like, let's make this together, right? And have them keep it. And can you imagine like maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line, be like, here's the NFT component for it. And maybe by then it's worth something more, right? And by then digital assets are a thing, right? But to be able to have that moment with some of my nephews and nieces, maybe like walk in and see that in their house every now and then, and then down the line maybe have it turn into something not valuable necessarily in the floor price, right? But it's like, dude, you fucking own a Snowfro, man. You know, my uncle gave me a Snowfro when I was yay age, and we built it together, and now I have the NFT and I use it as my PFP or whatever. I think that's super cool.
The physical component here is super interesting. I want to make sure that I'm getting this right. Is this a friendship bracelet that he has on here?
I don't know, man. It looks a little thick to be a friendship bracelet. Like, I'll show you. This is not a friendship bracelet. This is a Bali bracelet, but it's done in the style of the friendship bracelet. It's supposed to be just 3 strings, very simple to make. That one looks like something he might have gotten in Cabo, or I don't know. It looks a little fancier, or maybe it's a bunch of them put together.
I'll ask
Marfa. We'll compare friendship bracelets.
I'm still trying to get out to Marfa, so we will see if me and Gifted can make it out there with you, dude. That would be awesome. We were showing video there of Jordan and Snowfro doing the physical component. It is at odds with how we feel about the space right now. Like, I'm talking about floor prices as we start the episode, but when you look at a drop like this, it's a great way to figure out how to just be an art collector, just be involved and support somebody who's doing really cool things, but also involve people who are in your personal life for $20, right? In NFTs. And to your point, we know enough to not maybe call them NFTs out the jump. So I love that specific family piece you touched on.
And then, I'm really curious to see how some people approach this craft business as well, right? Because you see them doing it and it almost looks like kindergarten play, which is probably how I'll be building my hearts also, right? Like, but I can totally see some crazy, engineering types just like 3D printing them and making them humongous and start posting them in different places. Like, how cool would it be if you start seeing them? Remember, like the invaders? I don't know if you ever saw those. They became real big, like in Paris, and then I think they transferred into New York as well. But street artists that just started putting these little space invaders and like really like small pieces of small parts in different buildings and stuff like that. Not easy to spot, in other words, but when you see them, you're like, oh, look, a space invader. It'd be cool if you start seeing people post or put their little hearts all over the place, right? And be like, oh, look, that's a hard
feels craft. Like a very Nouns DAO type situation, right, where you see the noggles.
Exactly, man. Like, I think, it's the type of like lighthearted experience that can encourage a lot of people to experiment way beyond what I think the artist initially intended, right? And can turn into something very much like the way friendship bracelets became a thing, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see.
I know we've covered this drop, Heart and Craft, here for a while. The details around what they're doing with the funds. Does this go to Snowfro? Does this go to a DAO? I know, again, the Prohbition platform needs to have a business model, so I'm not against any of that stuff, but it would be cool in a situation like this where you do have a low mint price. You're not seeing much, return on the actual, collection. If they somehow could say, hey, we made $100,000, we made $200,000, what can we do with those funds and put it back into the project? That is one thing I'm looking at, as they, I think, have raised up to this point about $60,000, somewhere around 55. But again, I think they're going to raise a lot more than that.
Of course, man. And I think it's going to have I feel like it's going to have a story. Like, one of these things that I'm really paying attention to now, like with Mythics and with obviously with Nouns DAO and now with Craft and Heart, is like these prolonged minting periods and reveal periods, right? Like, they really help like establish like a passionate community around the project, and as time passes, you get to see like different aspects, right, of the project, right? Like, every now and then you'll have like a real rare heart, right, which will trade for several ETH, and everybody will be super fucking ecstatic about it, and I'm sure they're gonna go mint a ton. And then it'll probably die down, and they're gonna say that the project rugged or it's fucking dead, and then somebody else is gonna fucking make some merch that's gonna get really popular, and people are gonna want the hat or whatever, and you're gonna need to have a heart to be able to claim that. Then on it goes, right? It's a really fun way to keep it in people's minds, right? And like encourage people to keep coming back to it and trying different stuff. Just my 2 cents on that type of project, but we'll see how it plays out. It's early.
Biggie, I'm leaning on you here for a lot of this prohibition and the generative art and the open editions, all this stuff, because you're a heavy collector in that. I do have a tweet here or a post that was very recent. This comes from Corporate Trash. Heart and craft on Prohibition art is on that Chromie Squiggle license. What does that mean?
Damn. Okay. Not sure, to be honest. I mean, from what I understand, I think like the squiggle. That's interesting. I'm not pretend to be familiar with the squiggle license. Although knowing Snowfro, I'm sure it's pretty generous in what you can and can't do with it. I think I recall like skimming past it some point. I know you're not allowed to use it for like like Nazi propaganda and dumb shit like that.
Yes.
But I think it's one of those pretty generous licenses where you have a lot of leeway to do as you wish with your squiggle or with your heart.
Okay.
Again.
All right, I appreciate that, man.
Encouraging people to do stuff with it.
All right, I'm gonna move. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go for it.
I'm just moving us along here. I do want to cover at least my last topic for the day, but before I do, I did see another tweet come through from Herbie. I'm using X Pro, by the way, for those of you that are X Blue users or whatever the hell they're calling the subscription these days. The X Pro tab is interesting because you can do essentially different things at the same time, right? So I have a search bar here. You can do some interesting things where, like, say I wanted to remove this column. You can see I can have notifications. I can add a column. So this is a really cool step for X Pro. I know Twitter Blue was offering this before in another branded segment. But anyways, I'm just keeping up with what's happening. Herbie put out a pretty cool tweet that is probably going to be pretty interesting. He says how Kobe made 20 million trading and saved crypto in the process. Again, Kobe is probably the most prolific X profile in Web3 in crypto, in my opinion. You saw that with the Friend Tech shares where he made like 80 ETH. He was like the highest earner or something like that. It gives you a little bit of indication on how much influence this guy has. Anyways, check that post out. I'm sure that thread will be pretty solid. Otherwise, I want to get back to this Hill Dobby tweet talking about wash trading, essentially saying that in the situation that we see with OpenSea, with Blur, we are looking to other places. Hill Dobby saying that X2, Y2, LooksRare are definitely not the places we want to look at, although LooksRare's token went up 30% or something like that in the last 24 hours, last 48. But apparently still a lot of wash trading. Those platforms have been rife with wash trading since the very beginning. They haven't done much to curve those things. But we do have a ApeCoin proposal as well. And I'm going to read the TLDR here. The NFT market needs a royalty enforcement solution, not only for Yuga, but the entire Web3 community. We're proposing a V2 of the ApeCoin marketplace that's revamped and rebranded to support all collections, but keeps our optimized Yuga buying experience. The new marketplace will build on the payment processor protocol instead of Seaport and support the 721C standard for collections who use it. Our main objective is to standardize royalty payment data as a source of truth that lets creators reward loyal holders. This is critical input to dissuade wrapping of tokens to avoid royalty enforcement.
Look, I think that very much like crypto, right? Like Bitcoin, like, is there a possibility down the line that somebody develops a smart contract that just does not have any loopholes or any vulnerabilities around it and just locks in for everybody the holy grail that is the business model of living off of royalties? Hell yeah. I'm rooting for it. Whoever's building it, if you're doing it, God bless you. Please achieve it as soon as possible. You'll be a god amongst men. in the crypto world, right? Having said that, I mean, I take a look at the DeFi landscape. I take a look at all these other token standards that are around, and man, it's a tall order, right? Like I think if you're an NFT project that is banking on this being resolved anytime soon, that is a very risky proposition, in my opinion. Like, it's not coming to save you. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I think there's just way too much experimentation. I mean, and it's good. Like, we need that, right? But it's just like I feel when you look at DeFi models, right? Like what's going on with Balancer, dude, which was kind of like one of those, you know, one of those impossible to break DeFi protocols, and just found a huge vulnerability. $300 million all of a sudden at risk.
That's a light day in DeFi.
And to think that somebody's going to come around and just solve this for royalties is just a lot of hopium, in my opinion. Like I want it, and I think it is achievable, but I don't think it's going to come down time and soon. This is my long-winded way of saying, like, you need, and I think it's good for the space to find other business use cases and business models to lean against or to explore. Because imagine if all we did is rely on royalties. I think you'd see a lot more speculation right now, right? Like, and a lot more like shit projects launching left and right, just hoping that they score the lottery and can live off of royalties for life. I think it's a necessary evil that we're going through at the moment, and it's good because it foments creativity, it foments finding other way. I really don't think that just living off of royalties is going to be the business model for NFTs in the future. It could be a component, could be a strong pillar of it, but it's not just going to be the one and only way to survive. I hope it isn't, at least.
Especially for those creators who aren't these $1 million, multi-million-dollar entities, right? Like, you see the Pareto principle played out with this as well. Yuga Labs is making $70 million off royalties, and smaller creators are making not enough to, have a bite to eat. And trying to figure this out is super interesting. I agree with you that it's not going to take a long, anything in the short term is going to solve this. To that point, this ApeCoin proposal that we're kind of laying out here is just that. It's a proposal. Like, they're not even close to getting this started, let alone approved. So they're just kind of having the discussions around it. I think it would be a little bit beneficial to, Yuga came out and said they were going to start working on some sort of marketplace, right? Like that was at least hinted on with their response to OpenSea. The idea that Yuga should be featured in this proposal, right? Like, you're seeing this coming from ApeCoin, so they're gonna talk about how ApeCoin holders or Yuga holders can benefit. But if they are doing this, I don't think that they should have anything be featured, right? Like, if you're trying to create this like open collection marketplace a la OpenSea, don't make it so Bored Apes or Yuga holders like are somehow in some favorable position. I don't think it'll ever get adopted. I know we're having like multiple conversations at this point now about the proposal and also kind of the broader royalties discussion.
I think it's important. Like, I'm glad that that proposal exists, and I think these conversations should not like recede into the background, and people should throw up their hands and say it's not going to happen in my lifetime. No, like, I think if there's one thing us crypto folk are known for is attacking the problem head on, instantaneously. We don't rest on our laurels. That's why I love this space. So fucking have at it, right? Like, I think there's people definitely trying different solutions to these problems, right? Like, one of the ones that I'm very keen on that's coming up shortly is, like, for example, Mintify. Mintify is trying to iterate on the whole Blur farming for tokens, and at the same time allowing for that speculative aspect of NFTs to exist. And so they're trying a different model, which will be launching soon, and it's really cool because it has like a little bit of a community reward incentive to it that's pretty attractive, in my opinion. And so, but the only way we'll know if these things are successful or viable is by trying them out. Who knows? There's always some on the other side. There's always some motherfucker looking to gamify, find a way.
So yeah, that is a constant in the wild wild west that is Web3. We have been dropping a lot of links for tools on this episode, which I think is important. Like that's very much something that you
Mhm.
should be focusing on there at home. Like if this is the bear market, you're not necessarily making a lot kind of flipping on a day to day or anything like that. If that's your goal, so getting down into the weeds, trying to figure out platforms and tools that you could use, like NFT Inspect, which is now Inspect.xyz, Mintify, which I'll drop here as well. And then Biggie, I did have a question here on Lifeboat. I know that was one that
Oh
you
yeah.
had told us about a while ago. There were like NFTs involved as well. How is Lifeboat doing? Lifeboat.fi, I believe, doing today? Because I did see them come across my timeline multiple times, and they're kind of keeping people up to date on the latest as well, kind of just getting that news aggregation as well.
Definitely, man. So Lifeboat, man, is doing well. Like they came out of beta now, so it's open to everybody. It's a paid service, and the best way I can describe it, it's like it's the perfect tool, say, for somebody like GIF that hates Discord. And I understand, I totally understand. Like I one of the things that I've just refused to do with Discord is pay for the pro version or whatever, because 100 Discord channels is more than enough, in my opinion, to drive you insane. And yet on several occasions I've come up to that fucking line, right, where I have to go down and like prune Discord channels, right? But what that does sometimes when you're a DJ, such as many of us are here, is that it maybe causes you to miss some stuff, critical announcements. I mean, can you imagine being part of like D Gods back in the day when all of a sudden you were gonna bridge to Polygon and Ethereum, and you didn't find out about it, so somehow you lost some potential gains or got
Yeah.
penalized for it. So this is a way to keep track of it without having to be in every single Discord. And it's really cool because you just basically link it to your wallet. It looks at what NFTs you hold, and you can set it up to either send you emails. I think they're gonna eventually do it like for Telegram also. And basically you just get alerted whenever any critical announcements happen so that you don't miss any potential alpha or expansions in the projects that you're a part of. I
You
think
can,
it's a great tool.
You can actually see two examples here as well. Like this is public, obviously. It's not within the app, it's on X. Saying today on Lifeboat, Gucci Vault Exchange is live. Gucci Vault material NFTs can be burned to redeem Gucci and 10KTF co-branded physicals. You can see today on Lifeboat, this was posted on August 21st, 1337 Skulls partner with Base to launch as a prime on-chain summer release. So you can see like there's really cool, interesting like tools that we're kind of sharing with you that you should probably be more adept at, or at least using. So hopefully you're finding some value there, folks.
Hell yeah.
All right, we are rounding out the episode here. It was going to be a quick one today. Biggie, again, I appreciate you for joining all the way from Mexico there. Hopefully
Yeah.
the weather is nice. It looks pretty out.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially under this shade.
There
It's
you go.
pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started the show, and we'll end the show kind of the same way here, looking at across the collections, kind of seeing one that there's actually some at least positive momentum on the price side for the first time in what feels like a while. Again, if you zoom out, it probably doesn't look great, but at least on the day, almost all of these major collections are in the green, some more than others. Mochaverse sitting at up 20%. Meebits is up 10%. They're seeming to be talked about more. People are wondering, hey, what's going on with Meebits here? We got some CryptoPunks announcements. We got some obviously Yuga things happening. What about Meebits here? So DeGods is up 10% as well. They've been sold off more than anybody else in this industry. Certainly, we see some other reds, but overall, it's been a good day. We got to highlight that. Biggie, from let's say we could kind of wave a magic wand. You can't answer Moonbirds or Proof. What would you be picking up out of this list if this is in fact the bottom?
If this was, and I can't, I mean, price doesn't matter, then I'd probably go, man, an ape, an ape. Why not? Like I think that's like the most solid of all the bets, of course, right? I think it's also the biggest price. And you know, like I'm a fan of Yuga. The only reason I haven't bought it is because I already missed all the fucking
Yes.
benefits. God damn it! But I mean, I think that would be the solid bet. You know, if we go on price and it would have to be, you know, under 10 ETH, let's say, or whatever, then I think I like the penguins. I like the pudgy penguins a lot. Yeah, those would be my two bigger bets.
Yeah, we're not diving fully into the rate my bags again. I'm just kind of using this for reference. This is the 11th edition that we did about 2 weeks ago. So some movement, of course, necessary as the market churns. Deadfellas was down 20% on the day. So you saw all of these projects again see some positive momentum, and Deadfellas just got completely sold off. Interesting little tidbit of that. I would actually move on the short term. I think Captains probably deserves to be moved down. Doodles, with everything that they're doing on the IRL front, I think that they've been moving in the right direction. So I would probably move Doodles up here to the A-list category, Captains down. I haven't seen a lot from cyber brokers, although I'm not in that ecosystem that much. Nakas could probably be moved up as well on this list. So some movement here and there.
Yeah.
Anything stand out for you?
No, I agree with the Captains. I haven't dove in like really deep onto what's going on. I know they're having a little bit of drama there, as all projects do. It's like almost like it's a must, right? They all have to go through like this big dark night of the soul crash. You know, I still though remain like, if you gave me a choice between Captains, Gods, and Azukis, I would probably go with the Captains before I go with Azuki or D Gods. So
wow, I'd probably choose the Gods there. I don't really trust the Captains team at this point. I mean, I feel like they had a lot of momentum. They had a reveal that didn't happen for X amount of months, and I don't know. I feel like that's more of a bet than saying, you know, kind of the transparency that we're seeing with Frank. If you get my drift.
yeah, I need to dive into a little deeper into what's going on with the 9gag crew. I will say though, you're right in that, you know, if I did go with that protocol, it wouldn't be a Captains that I'd be going after. It would be an MVP, right?
Got it.
That's just a personal preference for myself. Like if I am going to go into a project, I want to go for the top tier asset. I don't want to go for the second citizens, you know. It's just a thing.
I gotcha. All right. We're going to close out the episode here in like the next couple minutes. Again, NFT Live. This is the last episode of the week, I believe. I'm flirting with the idea of doing Friday episodes again. We'll see. Not long ones. I want to keep those to like 30, 45 minutes. If I have to host it myself, I will. But again, I got joined by Biggie Poppins here. Just a special guest host here. My co-host that's joining me. And it wasn't planned. So he's doing this for y'all, providing the value there on the Heart and Craft edition, and bringing some info with some other tools to use. All right, we're going to end out here. Any last things that stand out for you on this list? I think Milady's is one. Like you see Milady's at sea.
I have no explanation for that shit. Sorry. Like, I don't have takes. I don't get it. I want to dive into that fucking ecosystem and just I'll happily remain ignorant.
It feels like we need to follow up on Crypto Dick Butts, by the way. Like they had that big, like we're selling to the community. It would cause a hubbub. That was about 3 weeks ago now. So I need to figure out what the new updates that there are with Crypto Dick Butts. Again, that feels like one of the NFTs that is selling themselves as like more so on the art side. It has nothing to do with like the business behind it in a sense. You definitely get that feel. We have I would probably move Crypto Dick Butts down. I think Fluff is doing good. I don't know what Sappies are doing these days. Yeah. I always want to move Doodles up here. I think they are doing some good things. World of Women, MFers, Digidaigaku. This B category is interesting to me, B and C specifically, because I think those are ones that aren't solidified. You know, you get down to D and Rect and you're like, oh yeah, that probably belongs there. And then S and A, kind of the same thing, although I think there is an argument to move some of these down. But anything else stand out to you here? And I'll open that up to the folks at home too.
I'll tell you which one really stands out for me, and I know like some of the people in the chat might hate me. It's a good thing GIF isn't here, but man, Cock Punch. And honestly, I have no new news to give you. There's nothing. I mean, I think like all he did was release the rigged characters just recently, but you know, I really just I'm a believer in that project, and I think you know that the zero communication so far, or the minimal communication I should say so far, is intentional, and it's prolonged intentionally, you know. And I think down the line, I can't wait for when the time comes and it starts revealing stuff to move it up. I'm not saying immediately to S tier, but I'm just pretty confident in it eventually moving its way up the ranks. I look forward to Marfa and seeing Tim Ferriss and maybe trying to ask him a little bit about it, right? But yeah,
I'd be interested to see how open he is to talking about like Cock Punch and all the updates with that. I know initially he was like saying this is like a community thing and you know all that. So I'd be interested to see it. Not in like any positive or negative manner either. Just you know,
yeah,
I'm interested in that.
100%, man. I think he wouldn't be very open to talk about it, just knowing how disciplined he is with all that stuff. But yeah. I will say, behind the scenes, like you know, he has been pouring a lot of his personal time and capital into developing all different sorts of, you know, registration for copyrights and IP and stuff like that. So he's not just sitting on his hands, folks. I hope you know that.
Yeah, Easy saying I minted 4,222. So it looks like those are flying. We saw 1,000 here of the Heart and Crafts being minted over the past 20 minutes. So still some really good interest for that drop there, that Snowfro drop there on Prohbition art. All right, we're going to close out the episode here in just a few moments. Milady's probably deserves to move up for whatever reason. They just seem to have some type of community or some type of interest and sentiment. I think that they probably deserve to be moved up. Cryptodes should probably move down. We did sneak in wrecked from the wrecked category now up to D. We snuck in the Cock Punch there. Don't tell GIF. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see what he says when he gets back. Azuki at C still. I think they belong in the cellar a little bit longer. Yeah. I mean, this looks solid. This wasn't an official look into the Rate My Bag segment, but I think we moved. I would think we moved enough around there for the day.
And Goblins is one that I would question, like, what the hell are they doing these days? Stood out to me as
Goblin
well.
Town?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a weird time in the industry, man. Goblin Town. All right. Again, thank you guys for joining today, NFT Live. It was a quiet Thursday here within the industry. We did see some other drops, as we've mentioned here on the channel, and we dropped some tools that hopefully you guys found some value in. The links will be in the description as well as the chat if you haven't already checked it out. Biggie Poppins, great as well to have you on as co-host today. It was a special surprise for me to see you hop in today, man.
Man, I do it because I love it, and I love our community. So OVOT, man, and I can't wait for next week. Let's see what the weekend holds for us.
All right,
well, I'm sure it'll be something. The minute we hang up, you'll see some fucking crazy announcement.
Yeah, hopefully. Head to X right now. As we end the episode, head to X because something is breaking right when we press end. See y'all. Our Vibe, our tribe.
Take it easy.